we're streaming now, so we could probably start. I don't know if Mr. Webster's here. If Mr. Webster's here, we will have a quorum. He is here. Okay, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'd like to call to order the Personnel and Policies Committee meeting. It's July 21st, 2020 at 5:30. This is a virtual meeting through Zoom. Roll call would be, you can do it by show of hands or here. Jim Webster,
Right here.
good enough. Paul Arena,
Here.
Dave Kelly,
Here.
gotcha. Dorothy Rudd,
Here.
let the record reflect we do have a quorum. Do we have any public comments for the night's meeting? Hearing none, we'll go right to the agenda. First item on the agenda, correction. Hearing none, we'll go to item C, the approval of May 28th, 2020 minutes. May I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Kelly, seconded by Mr. Webster. All in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion passed. Now we'll go directly to the first item on the agenda, which is going to be item E, a resolution approving the county administrator agreement between the County of Winnebago and Patrick J. Thompson. May I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Kelly, seconded by Mr. Arena. We will take this matter before the committee. Let me go to, is Mr. Chapman here? I thought I saw him here. No, I don't know where he's at. Mr. Chapman, are you there?
Yes, somewhere.
Okay, I know that feeling. I've gone ahead and I've talked to everybody last night at our caucus. They did receive the contract at that time. Do you have any comments that you'd like to make before this committee reference this contract?
Yeah, just let me go through it real quickly. Even though everybody's had a chance to look at it, the agreement is a 2-year term with the ability to renew it for an additional term if the county board so chooses. The compensation is $170,000 per year with let's see here. Let's see. With any additional increases, if any, that could be approved for merit, would have to be approved by the county board. As far as employee benefits, the insurance is basically the same insurance that our other county employees have. The vacation, sick days, personal days, we granted 3 weeks. Come on, having problems tonight. 3 weeks vacation the first year, and then 4 weeks the second year. Although he would have to earn those days during the course of the year. Retirement is the same as everyone else. The IMRF retirement. Performance evaluation. There'll be at least one performance evaluation done before July of each year. Transportation, there's a vehicle allowance of $200 a month rather than providing him a vehicle. Moving expenses, relocation. This would allow for reasonable travel expenses and moving and relocation expenses. That is a total of $15,000, but that's based on we would advance him that amount, and then he would be responsible for giving us receipts for his expenses. Anything that's not spent would be reimbursed back to the county. Professional dues and development, it provides for memberships, and I believe, let's see here, Illinois City County Management Association and the International City Management Association Those are entities that the previous administrator belonged to. It also provides that he would be allowed to attend one NACO and one ICMA conference each year, paid by the county, provided that the county board approves the participation and the payment. As far as the termination and severance pay, there's about three different different areas that we look at. The voluntary resignation, we would have to give us 30 days prior written notice to be resigned from the position. Mutual agreement, if there was mutual agreement between himself and the county that he would be separating from employment, and there would any severance pay for either the voluntary or mutual agreement would have to be approved by the board. Termination by the county with cause. This is kind of in relation to the new Severance Pay Act that was approved last year by the state General Assembly. If there's a something that's considered misconduct or I believe, let's see here, material breach of the agreement, he could be terminated with no severance pay. If the county chose to terminate without cause, I believe there is a 20-week severance pay included in that agreement, along with the payment of the health insurance for him and his dependents, with him paying any share that he would normally pay. So other than that, there's nothing else. I don't know if Lorraine or Michael or John, all three of us worked on this together, and with Michael being the main conduit between us and Patrick. So I don't know if any of those have anything else they want to add.
I think you've represented it well. Thank you, Steve.
I have a question, Steve. Did the state's, and this would probably be for the state's attorney, did the state's attorney look at this offer and sign off on it, basically?
Yeah, Dave, this is John Gilberti from the state's attorney's office. Yes, I worked on the contract and we have signed off on it. Yes.
Okay, I just have one question. It might be kind of stupid, but I'm going to ask it anyways because I'm kind of a stupid guy. And here it goes. Let's say this gentleman takes this job and he decides that we forward him the $15,000 for the moving. Let's say the moving costs $13,000. He's down here for 6 months and he decides he wants to take a job sweeping floors someplace in Rockford. Are we out that money for moving him, or is there some type of something that where he has to at least stay a year, or he's liable for that money, or is that just something we're out? That's just a crazy question. And as long as I've got my mic turned on, I'm going to ask Mr. Arena if he referenced what we talked about at caucus last night, if you've talked to a workplace, or Mr. Thompson referenced this. So I'll just turn myself off and listen to the answers.
Okay. Well, speaking to the question that came up in caucus, there was conversation about considering the increase in salary for this position that would be paid now. There was a concern if we could afford a chief financial officer.
I kind of lost you. I don't know if anybody else has.
I did relay that concern to Michael today, and he spoke with Pat about it, and it appears that he's fine. He's aware of it, and he'll work within where our budget constraints are. Michael, if I misstated that, please let me know.
Yes, that's correct.
And then to the other question, I think someone who's, I read through the contract, but I didn't see anything in there about paying back moving expenses. I may have missed it. Is there any provision
That, Paul, it might have been a stupid question that I've asked, but I've seen in past where we've gone ahead and paid for the training for the police guys, and what they do is they'll work for us for 4 or 5 months, and then they'll go to a different agency, and that really it really hurts us. I was just wondering if, I'm sure he's not going to do that, and I think that we probably should take a chance. I don't know, Mr. King, if that's, I don't think that was going to happen with this gentleman. I think he's pretty solid guy. Does anybody else have any questions, reference this contract or reference Mr. Thompson's appointment to the administrator for Winnebago County? Okay, hearing none, what we'll do is we'll signify by saying aye by a raise of hands. And I've got Mr. Kelly, I've got Mr. Rena, I've got Mr. Webster. Mrs. Rad, you're not there. Could you signify by saying aye if you're approving?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
All right. Ayes have it. The resolution's approved. If there's any further questions by anybody from the board reference this, I would suggest that you contact Mr. Arena. You did a stellar job. I'd like to thank Workplace for their diligent work in getting this resolved. And we're gonna go forward looking with the best intentions, and it's something I'm glad we're putting behind us. So hearing that, the next item on the agenda is item F, and that's going to be a report from Animal Services. We don't need to, we're not taking no vote on that, so we can go right to Mr. Frazier. Mr. Frazier?
Hi, thanks for having me tonight. And if there's any specific questions, I'm happy to address them. But generally speaking, things have ramped back up at Animal Services to something that's more like what we would have expected in the normal summer. Certainly plenty of cats coming in. The shelter is running smoothly. We're actually pretty darn close to full staff. So that's great. That'd be the first time that we've really felt that way in some time. Definitely very busy. Popular programs like our Trap Neuter Return program are back online. We're getting caught up slowly but surely on registration tag sales. And then, of course, our adoptions and other live outcomes are keeping pace, thankfully, with what's coming in the door to be impounded and to be sheltered. You probably have heard that our neighbors in Boone County had a situation and continue to have a situation where they don't have any staff in their own animal services department. So being good neighbors, when we got a call about a little more than a week ago, they had 3 dogs that they didn't have anywhere to send. And so we took those dogs. We've continued to help them out as we're able to, being good neighbors, making sure that we don't leave them high and dry, and we do what we can, while, of course, keeping in mind that our most important job is to serve the residents of Winnebago County, and whatever help we provide to our neighbors in Boone County, at a minimum, cannot come at the detriment of our service to the folks here in Winnebago County. There is some discussion, and there's, of course, some speculation in the community as to how long they may be without their own animal services staff. But we continue to hope to find ways to support them and assist them as we can, but with the recognition that we don't have extra people sitting at 4517 North Main Street. So we have to fit it in what we're already doing to serve the residents here in town.
Does anybody have any? Mr. Webster, you have a question for Mr. Fraser?
Yes. Thank you, Brett. The one thing I do want to say that we should be cautious about, though, is that they're in a battle over labor issues. Okay.
Right.
I don't want for us to get into anything that interferes with their labor issues there. You know, I don't want to have nobody casting aspersions or whatever it is about saying, well, you know, you guys are coming in there and taking our people's jobs and things like this, you know. I want to avoid any type of labor relations issues whatsoever. Because if the situation was reversed and our people walked out and for a viable reason, whatever, we don't know. I don't know anything about what happened there personnel wise. I don't want to know. I know that if our people had to walk out for some reason, I don't want to see people coming in and taking their jobs and leaving them out in the cold before they get to have their day in court, so to speak. So that's all I got to say about that. I think it's a pretty frightening situation that they have in a way, really. I would hate to see that happen to us. When I heard about that first thing, I thought, holy cow, if that happened to us with all these, you know, the feral cats running around and dogs running loose and that, no, you couldn't call anyone to come and help, you know. So
Right.
my 2 cents worth, thank you.
You know,
It's a great point. And everyone should be clear. We also don't know the details of what is happening there with their labor situation. We are not in a position where we're trying to have any part or take any side in any of that. The reality of it is, though, we have some expertise and we're able to help answer questions and do simple things like sheltering animals until they can get someone back on staff. And we only want to be involved in those types of activities on a limited basis and only until they have staff back in their building. We don't have any insight on what happened or is, and our only objective is to assist the animals as Boone County has asked. And hopefully they'll get this worked out here in the next couple of weeks.
I totally agree with you, Mr. Webster, just so you're understanding this too. If there is an opportunity for us to make a betterment or do something good for Winnebago County, reference this, that's fine, but it's going to have to be, they're going to call us, we're not going to call them. And I think anything that we do, we're going to have to work through our state's attorney's office, because I don't want to get in the middle of something like that. And I think Mr. Frazier is well aware of that anything that comes through to him, he's to contact Mr. Chapman, myself, and the state's attorney's office, so that way we're aware of what's going on, and I will report it to this committee immediately. But at this time, Mr. Frazier, there is no, there's been no contact. You just took the 3 dogs, and that's all that's done, right?
We took the 3 dogs. We assisted them with a situation, a pretty bad neglect case. Provided some advice, and then took in a goat over the weekend. It actually probably, it's a chain that was on a goat's neck for a long enough period of time that it opened up a fairly sizable gash. It won't be our court case, but if it were our court case, it would be the sort of thing where we might think it looks like felony aggravated neglect. We'll provide some insight and some assistance, but we haven't taken in any additional animals yet, no, other than the goat.
Well, I believe that I would rather them call us and we'll call them, but I also think, Mr. Webster, and I'm going to address this to the members of this committee, that we should have a plan, something set up in case they would call us, if there was a way that we could make it advantageous for the residents of Winnebago County, and not relinquish or downgrade the services for our constituents, but to make a little money. I wouldn't be objective to that. But once again, I feel as though they should call us, we shouldn't call them. And I want the state's attorney to be involved in this 110%. So I appreciate you taking care of the goat, Brett. I really do that. And those dogs, because yes, Mr. Webster.
Yeah, thank you. My last time here, I think. So Brett, I guess I'm curious if this coalition of volunteer people and people who care about animals and all that, have they stepped forward to volunteer their help, their services?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. So to give some perspective on the size of Boone County's problem, they're about 10% as busy as our department is. We respond to about 10,000 calls per year. We take in somewhere around 5,000, 4,500, 5,000 animals in a year. They're more 1,000 calls per service and animals per year. They sell about 8,000 tags. We sell about 65,000 tags. There's a lot of ways to live. They do about 90 adoptions a year. We'll do well over 2,000 adoptions this year. So they're a smaller operation. What they're considering as far as options moving forward, I don't know. I read in the Register Star that there is an arbitration dealing with their labor issue. We have our hands full enough at Winnebago County dealing with the things that we deal with at Animal Services. So I don't know what strategies they're looking at.
Is everybody good with that then? Because that's something that has been brought up to me several times, and I've talked to Brett back and forth about this. And I was actually at the shelter the day that happened, and you know, like Brett says though, and I'm Jim, they do 1,000 calls. 1,000 calls a whole year. We're lucky. Sometimes we got that many calls a month. So it's something that, you know, if we can help, I like I said, I'm not gonna be opposed to that one bit if the director is good with it, but I want everything going through the state's attorney's office. Does anybody have any further comments reference Animal Services? If not, thank you, Brett. I appreciate it. I'll be talking with you this week. I appreciate you.
Thank you, everybody.
Stopping by. Angie, are you there? Angie Goro, are you there? Because what I did want to discuss real quick with this committee, and Mr. Chapman is still here with us, and that would be the situation that's going on at River Bluff with the COVID and our employees. And I've been kind of carrying the torch a little bit that we're going to have to do something to compensate these employees. And I believe Mr. Chapman's talking about bringing this through finance or maybe through this committee. I'm not sure, but give him the authority to negotiate with the union along with our state's attorney. Mr. Chapman, would you just touch on that very quickly? Did I catch you off guard there, Steve?
Sorry, yeah. Sorry. You know, we had some discussions previously about looking at some sort of a bonus or some sort of compensation for these individuals at the nursing home and any other, you know, possibly the jail that have to deal with these COVID cases and so on. A lot of the entities, a lot of the nursing homes are paying what they call hazard pay. I think we're getting to the point at the nursing home where we need to recognize those people that are working out there. We actually have had cases among our residents now. I believe Pat indicated to me today that they've had 25 cases, which has probably been within the last 2 to 3 weeks. Prior to that, they had none. So unfortunately, it's got hold in the particular nursing home. When you have to deal with those particular cases, you have to wear all the PPE garb and everything. In fact, I believe pretty much everybody that's working out there now has to wear that particular, PPE, the gowns, the face masks, et cetera, the entire time that they're dealing with the employees. So we'd like to to get something done as quickly as we can to somehow reflect to the employees that we are cognizant of what's going on with them. We've had people that are that have tested positive out there, both employees and the agency help, and we want to somehow recognize that they're dealing with a situation that other employees are not dealing with. And you know, some of these people out there, in the dietary and other areas, they don't make a lot of money, but they have to deal with the same conditions that everyone else is. So we would like the opportunity or the ability to go forward and negotiate something with the union and move forward as opposed to having to wait till the next board meeting to approve it. So,
Mr. Chapman, then you'll be bringing this in front of finance, correct?
yes.
Okay.
They had a meeting scheduled, so that's where I put it. So,
Okay, that's fine. And the state's attorney will be assisting you on this, correct?
yes.
Okay, I think, yeah, Marilyn.
Yes, we've talked with Mr. Chapman and we're prepared to address this with the finance, but since you brought the topic up, Mr. Fiducia, the state's attorney's position is just to make all of you aware that we are in the middle of negotiations with the sheriff's correctional officers and other individuals. So you need to be cognizant of that. And you also need to be aware that other union labor employees may request the same thing. And so I think you need to look at the whole picture. This doesn't mean that one in a group of employees is more important than the other, but I think you need to be prepared to address this with other employees who also might be characterized as working in high-risk areas such as correctional officers and deputies. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That I think is something that probably we would probably be able to discuss, because I think a majority of the members of this committee, there's a good number of the committee's members that are on this committee are on finance as well as I am. So that's something that I think needs to be addressed, but also, like I said, it is something River Bluff falls under our purview of this committee, but I understand Steve wants to get moving on this. And Mr. Hoffman, hello, I see you've joined us, but you've joined us just in time for us to stay. Is there any other questions reference this River Bluff issue or any other further matters that would be brought forward to this committee? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adjourn? Motion adjourned by Mr. Kelly, seconded by Mr. Webster. Mr. Hoffman, just so you're aware, we unanimously passed the contract for the resolution to hire Mr. Thompson, and we are going to be discussing some terms with him, but I think everything is pretty much set. And Brett Frazier gave us a little insight on how Animal Service is doing. So we have a motion to adjourn on the floor, and everybody that wants to adjourn, signify by raising your hand. Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you so much. It's nice.
Sorry for being late, Dave.
That's okay. You're just a former Marine. You know how that goes.